Florian 111. Shout out Florian. He typed a question. We're accepting those nowadays. Why not? I don't want to exclude people. Question for the podcast. How do you structure a typical day at the track? How long do you practice what? That completely depends, but I'll give you a couple of examples. So the times I was spending in Massachusetts doing my riding before I came down south was all spent doing roughly the same thing. I would show up to the track. I would not do a warm-up because the warm-up tends to kind of be a bit of a waste of time and a little bit of like you're cheating a little bit because it's not realistic to just go out and just warm up for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and to give yourself that much time to learn the track. Now, you don't want to be reckless, but what I find is I just do a sight lap to make sure that, it's safe. There's nothing out there that I don't expect. And then immediately after that, I just kind of get into my pace and then do a moto right off the bat. It helps me. It helps with my arm pump. It helps with my breathing. It helps with getting up to pace quickly. All of the things that when you get to race day is usually like that shock to the nervous system because you just don't have the time, right? On race day, it's like you're just thrown to the wolves. Yeah, you might have a full lap practice, but you're out there with 40 other people. You're maybe learning a new track and under pressure of like, oh my God, I got to jump 15 things in these 4 laps. How am I going to do this? When you get in the habit of going to your practice track, especially when you get a chance to ride new practice tracks and just doing one sight lap and then kind of putting yourself right into your moto, as long as you do it in a calculated way, it's great practice. It's great practice. I will even do that, and this is way scarier, at Supercross track. So I'll go to a Supercross practice track and give myself one sight lap to basically walk the track and like learn where the things are. And then lap 2, I'm doubling everything, probably hitting the finish line, probably skimming the whoops. Lap 3, I'm tripling the triple. I maybe getting a triple in a rhythm. I'm definitely skimming the whoops a bit faster, starting to hit things at speed. Lap 4, I'm trying to jump absolutely everything out there. So again, not reckless, but I've trained myself enough times to be able to do that. And that's a highly effective thing to do. A lot of people don't think to practice that. So that's one thing you could do. Another thing, and you have to be careful of this depending on how public your track is or what the track layout is like, is doing section work. Oh. Sorry, the mold is probably slowly killing me, but that's okay. Hang on. Do I have do not disturb on? I shouldn't have do not disturb on. Practicing section work is incredibly important because it creates focus on just one section, and you can. Because let's face it, when you go to the track, and I feel for some people when it comes to this. Hey guys, before we get back to the video, Moto Academy is doing a world tour in 2024 and we're releasing dates every single week. So head over to themotoacademy.com if you want to train with myself and the Moto Academy. If you didn't see a location near you last time you're on the website, pop over to themotoacademy.com again, because like I said, we're posting new dates multiple times a week, every single week, and we're going all over the world. Themotoacademy.com, go check it out. Back to the video. When you go to a track and you have to ride a 2-minute lap time or more with 15 jumps and 20 turns and a whole bunch of people out there around you, half the people that I train can barely even remember where they're going. They can't remember which jump is which. They get lost. So how are you going to improve on a section and track your improvement and really have intentional, hit that section with a purpose and try to just make changes and do that science experiment and improve when you don't even barely remember what the turn is? You're just like falling into a line by accident and then just sort of getting around it. That's not a good way to ride. At all. That's super dangerous. That's not fun. You can't barely improve. And if you were improving, you wouldn't be able to track it. doing section work, it solves a lot of those problems. If you're able to break the track into like one turn or 2 or 3 turns and then just loop back and keep doing that section over and over again. It's not about, okay, how fast can I get through this freaking section? It's not that. It is picking a line and experimenting. Let's stand all the way through. Let's sit right at the beginning and see what happens. Let's sit halfway through and see what happens. Let's sit 3/4 of the way through and see what happens. Let's sit here on the seat. Let's sit 2 inches back and see what happens. Let's try to use the clutch a little bit. Let's not use the clutch at all. Let's see if I could use the front brake and try to get the bike to lean more. Let's not touch the front brake at all. Let's come in and use the rear brake to really anchor that rear tire, get some wheel chatter on the entry, combine some front brake with that and see what the stopping power can do. Or, okay, maybe it's a little bit rough and bumpy. Let's try no brakes, period, and just float in, kind of how Jet would in outdoors. Let's see if that works. Do I leave my foot on for this turn or do I put my inside foot out? Where do I put my inside foot out for this specific corner? Where do my eyes want to be? Where's the most effect? Because all of the things I'm talking about are variables and things that change little by little as you go from corner to corner. And vision is a big part of that. So if I'm going through a rut, where I look and the timing of when I look there completely changes how your bike will go through that rut. It will completely change the lean angle of the bike. It will change where that front tire ends up. It will change the corner completely. If I say, okay, you're going to get to this corner and you're going to just look over your right shoulder and look at the end of the turn versus I'm going to put a quarter in 3 different spots in this rut. I want you to reference quarter number 1, reference quarter number 2, reference quarter number 3, and then look to the jump face at the end of the corner. Those 2 examples are going to create completely different outcomes, completely different. Do I want to hit this turn in 3rd gear, or maybe shifting down to 2nd is going to help a little bit so I can lay off the clutch. I don't have to rush the entry of the turn as much and it ends up working better. Or maybe I need 3rd instead of 2nd because I'm just revved out when I let off in 2nd. It's kind of tossing me over the front with that engine brake. When I go to get on the gas smooth, I'm kind of just jerking myself off the back. All of these things, when you do section work and you can practice that turn 10 or 20 times in 10 minutes, you can learn really quickly, really quickly. The most effective thing I do a lot of the times is just that, is the section work. The full moto stuff and the full lap stuff can be pretty hectic and difficult learning environment sometimes. So hopefully that makes sense. Florian 111, great question. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, make sure you go download them on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to watch full episodes or be a person that sends in your own video submission, go to club.themotoacademy.com and subscribe to join the Moto Academy family today.